Hey, good day, folks. Welcome to Answers Life. I hope everyone's doing great today. This video is a tad bit different than videos I've done in a while. Now, before I get into rather or rather not, I'm going to move to Indiana, or if I even miss Indiana. First, I'm going to tell you a little bit about where I'm at. Right now, I am driving through the town of Lynville, Indiana, which is located a half hour north of Evansville, Indiana, in the southwest Indiana region. Now, as of 2020, the population of Lynville is 830 people, and it has lost 6.5% of its population. Now, this town has not lost any people since the 1930 census. So this is the first time since 1930 this town has lost people. And just for a short history of this town, Lynville was found in 1839. The town was named after John Lynn, the founder of the town, who also established the first store in town at the time. So that's just a brief history about the town for those of you that care. And I would say that, again, if you're looking to move to Southwest Indiana and you don't want to be too far from Evansville, because maybe you have a job at Evansville, you can check out this little town. And obviously this is a small town, not a lot of amenities available here, so as far as it goes for more amenities, you're the two closest towns. Well, the closest metro to here, of course, is going to be Evansville. And Poseyville, they're a tad bit bigger, but they don't really have a lot going on there either. So the closest, I'll just say the closest community to here that's going to have more amenities is going to be Boonville, Indiana. I think let me figure out something real quick. I'm going to figure out how far that is from here. Alright, Boonville to Lynville is only 16 minutes from here. So Boonville is going to be where you're going to go for your shopping and all your basic amenities, which that video will be coming up on the channel in the near future, in the very near future. Now let's get to the topic of discussion, now that you have a little bit of information about Lynville, for those of you that want to move here for any reason. And by the way, that's the Lynville Elementary School that you guys are looking at, which I'm getting ready to drive by. So anyways, well, if I were to tell you that I do not miss Indiana, and I am 100% glad I left Indiana, that would be a big fat lie. Now, yes, I did come back to Indiana briefly about a year ago at this point. Well, no, a year ago I left Indiana. And I was back in Indiana briefly for 7 months. And to make a long story short, I left Indiana, came back here to Alabama, and I came back here to Alabama with a job that I ended up walking out on after 2 months because things did not work out. If you're interested in the details of that, go on this channel and go back to the video that I put out. I want to say I put out the video in June. I want to say I put the video out in June 22nd of 2024. So go check out that video if you're interested in learning the details of why I walked off that particular job. And ever since then, of course, if you've been following me, you realize I've purchased another house, which is closer to one of the larger cities here in Alabama. Now, although I like my house, I enjoy it. I enjoy it a lot. I enjoy the acreage rich, and I do appreciate the lower cost of living here in Alabama, because honestly, I would have never been able to pull this off in Indiana, because Indiana's the cost of land in Indiana is quite a bit more expensive compared to Alabama when it comes to rural land. So I'm grateful for that. I really am. And I got wonderful neighbors too. We all get along. You know what I'm saying? It's good. But I do miss Indiana though. I mean, as I've told you guys on previous videos, I do, sometimes I do miss just being able to conveniently visit a couple of friends. And my family, they're up in Ohio, and if I was in Indiana, my family will only be a few hours away. So being all the way on the other side of the country, it is a bit of an inconvenience to visit my family. And some of you might think, okay, well, make new friends in Alabama. Well, that's easier said than done. I mean, for one, I have a very busy work schedule, and for two, given that we're in the age of technology, you can't just go up to people and start talking. Even here in Alabama, where people want to talk about Southern hospitality, and you just can't do that these days. I mean, you never know what people are thinking, you never know what people are going to do, and I'm just not taking no chances. And to be quite frank with you people, I am very much an introvert, so I don't just go up to random people and talk. Typically, if I go up to somebody, it's going to be for a very specific reason. The only time I might go up to somebody is either A, if I'm looking to move somewhere and I want to know more about the community, or B, if I moved in and I want to meet my neighbors. Other than that, I don't just go up to random people. I'm like I said, I'm an introvert, and I mind my own business, and that's just how I live my life. But I also miss Indiana because, well, I am a YouTuber, as you guys know. Maybe a small one, but I'm still a YouTuber. And with that being said, the internet, the quality of the internet services up in Indiana were significantly better than what they are here in Alabama. Because I know a lot of areas in rural Indiana where I can move to where I can have internet service, to where if I, like for an example, if I want to upload a half-hour video, it will upload within 20 minutes. As we're around in Alabama, in rural Alabama, it takes me, I would say, an hour and a half to 2 hours to upload a video. And of course, if the weather is crappy, it will take even longer. As when I was up in Indiana, since the quality of the internet services were better, I didn't have to worry about all that. And of course, another reason why I miss Indiana is because the economy up in Indiana is considerably better compared to Alabama. So although Alabama's cost of living is lower and housing prices are lower and going out to eat costs less, all that good stuff, property taxes are a lot lower, which I appreciate all that, Indiana's got a better economy. They got more job opportunities, and just all in all, the economy is bigger, it's stronger. That's because Indiana's got bigger cities that are doing better than the cities in Alabama. And like I told you guys before, I like to do gig work on the side. Now, when I was up in Indiana doing gig work, not only are the cities safer compared to the cities in Alabama, but also, at least from my experience, the customers up in Indiana tipped a little better compared to what they do compared to Alabama. And on top of that, the engineering of some of the roads in the main cities here in Alabama are just, to me, they're a little screwed up, they're a little weird. As where the engineering of the roads up in Indiana in the major cities make a lot more sense. And also the traffic lights up in Indiana aren't as long. As where the traffic lights down here in Alabama are longer, which means whenever I'm doing gig work, it slows me down, which means I'm not making quite as much money because it's taking longer for me to deliver my orders. And another thing is, I know a lot of people want to talk about Southern hospitality in Alabama. I said this before and I will say it again. Now, although there's a few places here in Alabama to where you can experience that good old Southern hospitality, I will say for the most part, I find people up in Indiana a little more sociable, a little more down to earth. I mean, that's my opinion, of course, so get mad if you want to, but that's my opinion. And also, to be quite frank, this, even though I've been down in, I lived here in Alabama for the better part of 3 years now. I mean, it's one of those type of situations to where no matter how much I try to integrate with the local community here where I'm at in Alabama, at the end of the day, I am still very much a Midwestern person. I mean, it is what it is. That Midwesternness is in me. I mean, it is what it is. And I have came to grips that I'm not going to get rid of it. No matter how hard I try. Even if I wanted to get rid of it, I'm not going to. It's part of who I am. I was raised in Ohio, and I lived in Kentucky and Tennessee for a while, went back to Ohio, and then from Ohio I went over to Indiana, and I lived in Indiana for 12 years. No, for about 13 years. So I am very much a Midwestern person, and the culture that we have in the Midwest is a little different than what's down here in Alabama. I'm not saying it's a good thing or a bad thing. I'm just saying that it's different, and despite the fact that I've been here for a few years, I'm still trying to get used to it. So that's that. And also, although the food here in Alabama is decent, you know what I mean? I feel Alabama does a wonderful job at cooking soul food, chicken, and, you know, stuff like that. I mean, some days I just want to go out somewhere, get me a nice, big, hot bowl of spaghetti. Or sometimes I want to just go to a pizza place, and I'm not talking none of these chain restaurants. I'm talking about a restaurant that's authentic to the local community. Like sometimes I might want to go to a pizza place, and I just want me a good pizza. Just a good chicken and cheese pizza with some green peppers and onions. Now, I know this here in Alabama, it is a lot harder for me to find a good pizza place. I'm not trying to insult the pizza places here in Alabama, but I'm just saying I know this here in Alabama, there's not as many places that make good pizza as there are back up in Indiana. And same thing goes for spaghetti. There's not as many places here in Alabama that make good spaghetti as there are up in Indiana. And again, these chain restaurants do not count. I'm talking about restaurants that are authentic to the area or even authentic to the region. So, will I be moving back to Indiana? Well, I'm not going to say no, and I'm not going to say yes. Obviously, moving is expensive, and I really do not want to move again. However, I'm going to be honest with you people. If I find a house up here, I mean, not necessarily in the region of Indiana where I'm driving through right now, but if I find a house here in Indiana, I'm speaking generally, if I find a house here in Indiana that I like, the price is right, the lot size is right, there's a good chance I might be coming back to Indiana. But don't hold me to it, because I might decide, you know what, F it, I'm going to stay where I'm at. But like I said, if I did come back to Indiana, it would be because A, the economy is better, B, I'm a little homesick, I ain't gonna lie, and also the healthcare in Indiana is also better compared to the healthcare here in Alabama. I mean, I noticed when I was up in Indiana, it was a little easier for me to get into a dental appointment. Same thing when it comes to seeing a doctor. It was a little easier for me to see a doctor when I was living in Indiana than it is here in Alabama. And secondly, I noticed that the customer service, when it comes to at least your dentist, are way better in Indiana than they are down here. Because for some reason, I don't understand why, but a lot of the dentists here in Alabama seem to be a bunch of assholes. I don't get it. Now I'm pretty sure there's a few that are nice. I just haven't ran into one yet. As we're up in Indiana, the customer service when it comes to the dentists are better. So, in a nutshell, those are some of the reasons why I miss Indiana. And if I did move back to Indiana, those are some of the reasons. Those are the main reasons why I would move back to Indiana. So that's about all I got for today. I got more, but I don't want to over talk this video. So stay blessed, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.